Exit Ticket 1, The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Hello, my name is Michael, and today I'll be explaining one of the most important themes in The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, the theme of oppression. The story follows a woman whose husband John confines her room because she is suffering from mental illness. He believes that limiting her activities, no writing, no work, no visitors, she will recover. Instead, this restriction leads her deeper into despair. The yellow wallpaper in her room becomes a symbol of her imprisonment and her declining mental state. The theme of the oppression is shown through the relationship between John and the narrator. He treats her like a child, dismisses her concerns, and decides what is best for her without her input. This reflects not only the gender roles of the time period, but also the silencing of women's voices. Her identity is slowly erased as she is forced into complete dependence. The wallpaper itself becomes a powerful metaphor. At first, she hates the color and chaotic pattern. Later, she begins to see a woman trapped behind the wallpaper bars, trying to escape. This symbolizes her own condition. She feels trapped within the walls of her marriage, her society, and her illness. By turning down the wallpaper at the end, she believes she is freeing the woman inside of her. In conclusion, the yellow wallpaper uses the theme of oppression to highlight dangers and silencing and control others. Through the narrator's breakdown, we see how power and authority can strip away identity, and the story is meaningful because it not only reveals the struggles of her past, but also reminds us the importance of independence and identity. John's perspective when he discovers his wife has turned the wallpaper. I pushed open the door on the site and stopped me cold. My wife crawled across the floor, her hands ripping away the wallpapers in great strips. The room I thought would heal now looked wild, like a battlefield. My heart pounded in disbelief. I had done everything in my power to help her, restricted her writing, kept her in bed, and demanded rest. I told myself it was good for her, yet she was unrecognizable, her eyes burning with madness I had never seen. She laughed, low and airy, claiming she had freed the woman in the wallpaper. My chest tightened with guilt. Had I pushed her too far, I thought I was protecting her, but perhaps I had only imprisoned her mind. By changing the perspective of John and the perspective of the scene shifts, instead of focusing on the narrator's liberation, we see John's shock and guilt. His perspective reveals how control and pride blinded her to suffering. This rewrites highlight the theme of power and authority. John believes he knew best, but his decision caused harm. It also emphasizes the tragedy of misunderstanding and mental illness. The story becomes not only about women's struggle, but also how ignorance and control can destroy relationships. Now, Unit 2, Hamlet. Act 3, Scene 1. To be or not to be, soliloquy. The focus here is morality and indecision. Hamlet, to be or to be soliloquy, is one of the most famous passages in literature. In this scene, Hamlet debates the value of life itself. He wonders whether it's better to endure suffering or end life and face the unknown after death. The soliloquy is important because it reveals Hamlet's deepest thoughts, and the imagery Shakespeare uses, such as slings and arrows and outrageous fortune and sea of troubles, shows the pain of existence and a kind of battle. Hamlet imagines death asleep as a way to escape his suffering, but he hesitates, fearing what dream may come in the sleep of death. This shows the theme of morality. Death, inevitable, but fear, unknown, keeps human clinging to life. The soliloquy also connects to the theme of indecision. Throughout the play, Hamlet delays taking action against Claudius. His habit of overthinking paralyzes him. The speech captures the indecision perfectly. He is stuck between suffering in life and fearing what lies beyond death. This moment is significant to the play because it deepens our understanding of Hamlet's character. He is not just seeking revenge, he is also struggling with the universal human questions. By sharing these private thoughts, Shakespeare allows the audience to see Hamlet's vulnerability. And in conclusion, To Be or Not to Be is a turning point that captions Hamlet's struggle. It also shows how fear of death and the known human choices, the soliloquy is powerful because it speaks not only to Hamlet indecisions, but also to timeless questions about life, suffering, and the mortality of it. Exit ticket 4. This is my character journal entry plus reflection. Today I felt broken. Once my comfort looked at me with such cruelty, he told me to go to Nunnery as if my love were shameful. His words cut through me like knives. I cannot tell whether he has gone mad or if his love for me was never real. My father always warned me to guard my virtue, and my brother told me to be cautious. I listened through my heart, wanted otherwise. Now I'm left feeling powerless, trapped between loyalty to my father and devotion to a man who no longer wants me. His madness frightens me, but it also makes me pity him. I do not know where to turn. Ophella's perspective. She reveals the theme of their parents versus reality. Hamlet pretends to reject her as a part of his plan, but Ophelia cannot see the hidden motive to her. The pain is real. The journey entry highlights how others are caught in Hamlet's struggle, even when they do not understand it. It also connects to the theme of madness, since Ophelia herself later loses her mind. And this mainly changes everything. Instead of focusing on Hamlet's strategy, we see the real emotional damage his actions caused. Now, we're going to move on. Unit 3, Poetry. Poem chosen, Dos et Decorum by Wilfred Owen. The focus, imagery, and the old lie of war. Wilfred Owen's poem, Dos et Decorum describes the horrors of World War I. The title comes from a Latin phrase meaning it's sweet and fitting to die for one's country. However, Owen calls this the old lie. The poem uses imagery to show war reality. Soldiers are described as bent double, like old beggars under sacks. This just destroys the image of soldiers as noble heroes and instead shows them as broken and exhausted. The most powerful image is the gas attack. Owen describes a man guttering, choking, drowning, and poison gas. This forces the reader to imagine the horror directly. The poem also uses structure to increase its effect. It begins with description, then shifts suddenly to a gas attack, and ends with Owen addressing the reader directly. By turning to the audience, he challenges those who glorify war. The central message is that war is not glorious. It is brutal, painful, and dehumanizing. The use of shock and imagery and personal experience makes the poem unforgettable. In conclusion, Owen uses imagery and structure to expose the truth of war. His rejection of the old line makes the poem meaningful even today, as it warns against blind patriotism and propaganda. Visual idea: a digital collage with human with soldiers' broken gas masks in the foreground, muddy boots sinking in the ground, and dark sky filled with toxic green smoke. In the background, faints words "dos et decrum air" are crossed out in red. This image doesn't show the part where the faint words are crossed out in red because this is a different image. In my artwork, I wanted to capture the hopefulness of tone of Owen's poem. The gas mask represents the fear of poison gas, one of the most terrifying parts of the World War I, and the broken boots symbolize the suffering of ordinary soldiers who were pushed beyond human limits. The dark sky and green smoke creates a mood and depth of suffocation. The crossed out text of "dos et decrum et" shows Owen's rejection of idea and dying of one's country honorable. My goal was to show how the poem's imagery still speaks powerfully through visual art. This is an image from the internet. I wasn't really able to recreate this because I'm not the best artist, but this is definitely the closest picture I could get to what I wanted to write about. Now we're gonna move on to Unit 4. So, the ad chosen, Dove Real Beauty campaign, focuses the representation and influence. The Dove Real Beauty campaign is an important example of how media can shape our understanding of beauty. In this ad, Dove challenges traditional beauty standards by showing women of different bodies, types, ages, and ethnicities. And the message of the ad is that beauty is diverse. It uses a reputation to include people who are usually excluded from mainstream advertisements. This makes viewers feel accepted and valued, and the ad also uses emotional appeal, encouraging self-confidence and connecting to people's personal experiences. Analyzing through the media concept, Dove is pushing back against stereotypes that say beauty must look a certain way. At the same time, the campaign builds trust in the Dove brand, showing how media messages often combine social impact with marketing goals. Now, the influence of this ad is significant. It started conversations about self-image, body positivity, and immediate responsibility. It proved that advertisement can sell products while also promoting healthier social values. In conclusion, Dove Real Beauty campaign is meaningful because it reshaped how people see beauty, and it demonstrates the power of media to influence audiences and challenge harmful stereotypes. Thank you.